Bro, how was that one episode already? That just freaking poof. Oh my gosh, dude. Yo, finally something with the Force and lightsabers. First of all, I want to say that that was brilliant how they adapted the book, because usually they don't, and or the comics for that matter, which is fine, I guess, in some senses. But the fact that they actually adapted the book is really cool. So in the book, if you didn't know, Asajj Ventress died because she sacrificed herself to save Quinlan when Dooku was fighting him. So she got actually caught in a barrage of Force lightning. Then Dooku takes her to Dathomir and then throws her in this like dark pool, which is like some ritual, and then she's united with her sisters essentially. And then that's it. So all of this is now continuing the story and like bringing her back, and so it's kind of cool that she got like the option to. And then that's the part of Star Wars that I don't understand, and that I'm hoping that we get more clairvoyance on, is magic and the Force, and like how those two differentiate from each other, which one is really more powerful, and just dive more into that, which we'll probably get in Ahsoka season 2. Okay, let's go into episode 2. It's called Friends. A risky opportunity puts Ventress in the crosshairs of the Empire. 16 minutes long, so it's probably 13 minutes. That was fun. All right, episode 3, you ready? We're just going. We're just going, dude. Episode 3 is titled One Warrior to Another. It is 18 minutes long. Ventress finds herself in the middle of a local dispute on the backwater planet. Okay, that's done. All right, so that was the third episode. Was much more of like a character building episode for Asajj, kind of introducing us into who she is now, why she's kind of like softened up and a good guy. We're essentially getting like another Mandalorian sort of situation, or like an Ahsoka situation, which is like all the craze these days. And I'm not complaining, because it definitely helps build each person's character arc much more when you have, you know, the teacher and the student. The student often leads you into trouble. They're much more immature, brash, irrational, and less experienced, and the teacher ends up following them into, you know, dangerous situations, and things get much more hairy, which makes for a better story, more entertaining, blah blah blah. But that being said, it seems like that's what we're getting with this, where Asajj's story, as we continue it, will be her with a Padawan of her own now. A lot of people are going to be upset at the fact that she's, like, quote-unquote good, and a lot of people are going to be happy that she's, you know, on a new path of character development. Personally, this is where they want to take it, so I don't mind it. I think this is a cool place to take it. We know Asajj is, I wouldn't say, like, 100% light, but she is more so light than dark. I would even argue that's indicative of the yellow. Feels like half of a story. It ends right in the middle. Yeah. The first episode was great. Second episode and third were really just building her story into kind of like giving us I feel like this would have been the first full episode of a season. You know, they're just kind of developing her story. But where are they going to take it after this? I really would not be surprised if they put her into live action at some point, and I'm actually very happy the fact that they've brought her back the same way that they did in the book. Well, not really how they brought her back in the book, but ended up extrapolating on that and then bringing her alive, and that she's now kind of like a prominent player in the Star Wars galaxy, because Asajj is a cool character. She has a very cool backstory, and she's an OG. I like the fact that they're continuing her character, simply because we don't really have any cool female characters anymore. Like, Rey is a nothing. No character arc. Ahsoka, I feel like in animated form, she's amazing. But I feel like, you know, season 1 of Ahsoka, it was kind of... I'm not really a big fan of where they ended it. Where they started it, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing her in The Mandalorian. But I feel like it was a little bit clunky and slow just with her overall character. Like, I feel like she needs... Yeah, I fully agree. I feel like she does need more emotion as she goes into this role. Even though she is jaded, she is older, more mature, all that. But I would like to see more of her. I'm not a big fan of Sabine, so the fact that we have Asajj now mentoring a young boy, I'm cool with that. I think it'll be fun. We'll see where it goes. What happened to all these Jedi that survived? Well, they're going to have to die. They're either going to have to die, or they're going to have to go off into the unknown regions or somewhere super far away. It does definitely undermine A New Hope with all of these surviving Jedi just like wandering around. I would much rather and they probably won't do this, but if they do, great, that they kill off all of the surviving Jedi before A New Hope. I actually really like that. I really like that episode a lot, actually. Damn, that was cool. I always had a feeling that Cad Bane had a pretty rough upbringing. But to see all that transpire, and I'm guessing, from the thumbnail of the third episode, he sees his friend again. It's dangerous sometimes with these characters by humanizing them too much. Like, you don't want to humanize Vader, but that's why it's beautiful to do it as Anakin, because it's almost like a different person. But sometimes when you humanize them, like what they did here, like him with licking the crunchies, and like, I think it does a really good job for his story and his character. So when you see him later on, it's almost not like you see him as like a pure-on villain. You're like, this guy's a piece of shit. He's a scumbag. Kind of like understand. You're like, oh, okay, you know what? I can kind of understand where he's coming from. I can understand what he went through or why he's like this. And all of that not only fleshes out the character more, but it also makes you connect more with the character. So all of their actions, they just hit you more emotionally. I think that was very well done. Yeah, that, like, in comparison, that made the Asajj episodes like weak, which they were fun, but they were not as deep as that. That was pretty real. All right, bro, I ain't wasting time. I want to get to that next episode right now. Bro, these Bane episodes are freaking fire. Dude, I'm loving it. Damn, that was only 11 minutes, 44 seconds. What the heck? Lame, dude. So that's, we know now how he gets his hat. We know that, what was the guy's name? Crypto? What was his mentor's name? And then we also know why he has a Texan accent, because he just basically copied his mentor. Okay, the smoke coming off of his dad's body is just, like, diabolical to animate. That's just... Yo, they went pretty dark. Holy fuck. Damn. They literally just fleshed out his character arc in 3 10-minute episodes. That is wild. Asajj episodes were fun. They were cool. They were great. But this was some deep character building to the max. Like, on so many different levels. Cad Bane from when he was a kid, and then, like, just taking him all the way to where he is now, and then finding out he has a son. Like, where is this going to play into the rest of Star Wars? Like, even when Cad Bane dies, like, is this kid going to become anything? Like, I mean, there's no doubt that shit's going to leave a major mark on you. Like, seeing your dad killed in cold blood like that, like, and then realizing eventually probably someone is going to tell him that's your actual dad. Like, that's wild. So, 10 out of 10 for me. 10 out of 10 for me, right there. I really enjoyed that. Asajj episode's probably a 8.5 out of 10. And then the Cad Bane, like, freaking 10. 10 out of 10. Great. Really enjoyed those. Really, really enjoyed this. I'm going to enjoy making a lot of lore videos now for Asajj and Cad, and doing the breakdowns for these, because shit, it's been a while, dude. It's been a while since I've, like, been actually, motivated and passionate to make some stuff. And every time they do, I can't keep saying every time, but most times when they do animated Star Wars, it's like, it's always great. Minus Tales of the Empire. That was animated Star Wars is just, I don't know why, but it just, since George, I think that's like the only thing that they can kind of hit on this similar sort of same level. Because live action, they just shit the bed completely. But animated stuff, I feel like they really get a grasp of how it feels and like the stories that they write for these characters. I almost feel like Kathleen Kennedy just isn't even looking at any of the animated stuff, and that's why she's not interfering. Bravo. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I know there's going to be Dave Filoni haters being like, it was shit. Yeah, some stuff he makes doesn't hit, man. Like, the live action stuff is just a little bit questionable, but you can't deny that this Cad Bane arc was really well done. I enjoyed this a lot.